Okay friends, I'm here to share some good news between this mess that we are in. The never-ending dip keeps getting deeper and looks like any green we get is a little tease for more red. It's been hard to see some of our positions keep dipping, and even though we want to buy more, but wait, we already bought in the last dip few hours ago. But one thing we learned from this dip is that we need to invest in quality names and not try and get rich overnight, because that never works. You may get lucky on one trade, but then you will end up losing on another. Instead, the focus should be on companies that are making product and services that solves real-world problems and has a demand. So let's talk about Sofi and who is buying Sofi. Let me share my screen and give you some details. Now, when an institution buys a company, it's exciting, yes, I agree, but they are in the business of buying and selling, and they have all the tools, the AIs, the algos that backs them up, and they play momentum, which is all good and appreciated, as that gives us small investors some guidance. But when insider buys a stock or keeps a stock, then it's really interesting. This is something that I've always said, that insider buying or vesting for me personally is more interesting than an institutional buying. If it's a net buy or an open market buy, then it's even more interesting. So I'm going to show you one confirmed institutional buying. Of course, the rest will come later with more 13Fs. So this is of course not a big deal. But then I'm going to give you details on some insider buying that happened between December 14th and 15th. Now, most of them were plain and simple exercising of options. But even after that, it resulted in some net buying, which is of course very exciting. So let me share some of the details here. So this is the latest details that we have. On 12/16, JP Morgan increased their position on Sofi by 15.39% or 170,000 shares, which is of course not a big deal for a company like JP Morgan. They already are vested, but they increased their position by 15.39%, which is exciting. Then all these that you see, this is all insider basically getting options or exercising their options for Sofi. So over here, right here, it says initiated a new position in Sofi with 170,000 share. Then this person over here increased their position by 16%, and all the others, they basically increased the position. Now, all this buying and selling, it happened, I would say, or I should say, all this buying happened right here between December 14th and 15th. Before that, you can see that some of the insider actually sold when the stock price was around $17.50 to about $18 in that range. And then some sold when the stock price was about $20, $21 right here. But then since then, we had some buys where it's an open market buy, but some were of course exercising their options, which has happened most on 12 and 15. Now with all this, of course, when a person gets options, they had to pay taxes, or there's a fee associated with getting the options, which is of course they pay by selling their shares out in the market. After all the plus and minuses, these are the net buy shares that we have on Sofi. On 12/15, about 295,000 shares. On December 14th, about 312,000 shares. On 12/10, about 1,000. This was a direct buy, of course. And then on December 2nd, we have about 24,000. So this is a net buy after the person have received their options and converted the options into the shares, and they have paid the dues or the fees, of course, by selling some options or some shares in the open market. These were the net positive, which is of course very exciting. If they didn't believe in the company, or if they think that the company is not doing very well, they could very well come out and sell all the options or all the shares that they just received in the open market, and then that would actually come under net sell. But net sell was zero in that time frame, and net buy was almost, I would say, 500 some thousand shares, which is of course very, very exciting. Next, I want you to pay attention is on the chart here. So this is the chart, of course, of Sofi. If it's not clear, but you can actually see the lines over here. So this is a very, very huge support line. Now, the mess we are in, or the market we are in, these technical analysis goes down the drain, because the stock can just go down without any fundamentals and can just reach or touch the bottom all the way. So since December, what we have seen is that Sofi has traded between this Fibonacci levels, that is between the 14 level right here and of course the 17 level right here. So as we know, that stock has gone up between like 14 to 14.50 to 15, and then came back down, and as you can see, it's been trending in that range. Now what will be exciting to see is that if the rally continues, or if the green market continues, the Sofi stock needs to break that 1680 level right here, which is of course right close to the 17 level. And then if it crosses above, then we have a chance of touching the 19 level, which we did back in November. So this is really, really exciting, and this is what I'm paying attention to. One thing I've noticed is that the MACD is now slowly, of course, turning positive, or less negative, I should say, if you look at the bottom. The RSI is also at the bottom right here. This is a very exciting time for institutions and, of course, insider, as you saw, to have more and more shares. I wish if I had more money to buy more shares of Sofi. I did some dip buying just in the last few days, but of course it just keeps dipping and I'm out of money to buy anything else right now. But where the stock is sitting right now, if I were to start a position, this is such an exciting position, or this is such an exciting time to start a position where it is right now. So we are in this market situation where I feel it's too early to celebrate anything. We will continue to see this undecisive market until we get good solid bull rally for at least 2 to 3 days straight, and Omicron gets kicked out. So here's a personal experience. We get an email as parents from our kids' school when a kid in the school gets COVID or gets any kind of sickness, and what measures they are taking or they have taken to basically protect other kids. We used to get maybe one email a month in the last few months, but now we are getting one email every week with bunch of kids, actually, not just one, but 3 kids got COVID positive or have COVID. So the numbers are definitely alarming, and that's what Wall Street is freaking out. But we have known that all along, that winter will be bad. And don't forget, it's all prospective in a way. The session low today was session high just a few days ago. So for me, if I believe in the company, then I don't get phased out with the short-term news. But I'm definitely trading more carefully on the option side because premium disappear on them very quickly, and that's why I've been focusing more on buying shares instead of options. This is such a wonderful time to do that, and I seriously hope that we don't get bank charter news right now. That is correct. I'm hoping we don't get the news right now because I would like to see the stock run up a bit on its own legs, and then the charter news will add more fuel to the fire. I personally feel that any bull run that we see, that doesn't matter if it lasts for a day or for a couple of hours, there is nothing to celebrate about it because we need to have solid 2 to 3 days of bull run, as I mentioned in the video before, where we could really see where it's headed and what the market is about to do. There is so much uncertainty in the market. The Fed has, of course, given its decision, but of course, everybody is trying to dissect that decision to make sure or make sense of what is being said. So in my personal opinion, again, this is not the time to celebrate. This is the time to take action on your portfolio. But let's see where we end this year. And again, this is just my opinion that if you have any options that's expiring soon, maybe January or February, this is the time, or just a little bull rally will be the time to kind of take profit if you have any profit. If you have loss, then minimize your loss. And if you're breaking even, then don't even wait for a second breath. Just go ahead and get out of those options because the premium will disappear very quickly. Again, my opinion, and I'm not a financial advisor. I hope I was able to provide you some value. And if you like the video, then give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. And if you like to talk about this stuff, then consider joining our Patreon, where we talk about trades, ideas, and much more. As always, an absolute pleasure to share all of this with you. Until next time, you all have a sparkling day.